And hello, good people of the internet. It is I, Tommy Kelly. This is Adventures in Woo Woo, and welcome to another episode of the show. On this episode, what we're going to do is some one-card 40-servant divinations. So every month, my patrons, my exceedingly good-looking, generous, handsome, intelligent patrons over on Patreon send me questions about some sort of quandary they're having, some sort of area of their life that needs some sort of insight or a different perspective on. And I pick out one card from the 40 Servants deck, which is a deck I created over 5 years ago. You can find out more about it in the description below. And I answer the questions from the perspective of that card and what it represents. And so it's just kind of seeing it as a different kind of view on your life, or another way to look at things, more than a kind of predictive stuff or more than fortune telling. It's just another way of looking at it. Helpful advice from a friend. If you want in on this, we do it around the first of the month, every month. Then just join Patreon. Again, links are in the description. Join at any level. It starts from like $1. So we'll go straight into these divinations and hopefully you enjoy it. The background scenery where we are is the Bush Church, St. Andrews. It's northeast of Ireland. It's close to Carlingford and Ravensdale. Lovely coastal journey if you do ever get it around this neck of the woods. So yeah, enjoy. Joe asks, what is most important to bear in mind as I launch my new business venture? So we have the desperate. So the thing that would be in regard to this to keep in mind is not to get too kind of overcome with it all, not to get too bogged down in it, not to feel that it's too much, you know, that it's easy when you're setting up new ventures, new things, new businesses, or doing new projects, or any of these things, that you can kind of get the feeling that there's just too much going on, that you get bogged down in it, that you get overwhelmed by it all, that it just gets all a bit too much, that there's too much going on and everything seems out of control and you just can't take it. And it's a kind of a natural response to new things. So the kind of advice would be that you should make sure not to get overwhelmed by it all, not to get to the position where it comes all too much. Make sure you're getting plenty of breaks, that you're getting the right help, that all the procedures are in place, that when the kind of hard times come, which of course they're going to come, or when the difficult bit comes, that you have someone or people you can rely on, or a process you can rely on, or you're able to walk away from it for a while to have a break. So just don't become too overstimulated by it or too overwhelmed by it, or don't let it all kind of just crush down on you, as it's all too easy to do when you're trying something new and are slightly out of your depth because you're entering new territory. So it's a natural thing that will happen, but just be aware that it will and have procedures in place to deal with it. Grayson, what would the universe like me to be aware of this month? The opposer. So you have to be aware of the forces outside of your control in many ways, or outside of you, that are in some way limiting you or having an effect upon you. The difference, of course, between, say, the opposer and the devil is the interior limiting beliefs or ideas that you have about the world that stop you from progressing or stop yourself going forward, whereas the opposer is the actual things in the world out there that stop you from doing it, be that laws, be that people, you know, nature, the way things are, society, culture, just life itself. And so be aware of the oppositional forces. It doesn't mean that you have to overcome them, although it can mean that. It doesn't mean that you have to in some way just acquiesce to them, although it can mean that. It's just to be aware of them and see them for what they are. You know, that whole thing of like, look at what you can change and change the bits you can change, and, you know, let go of the things that you can't change. That kind of thing. But be aware that there is some oppositional forces, and maybe take the kind of blame off yourself a wee bit, going that, you know, this is just the way things are, and sometimes there is things out there that don't allow you to do the things you want, and it's not your fault. But this is just a call to be aware of the oppositional forces that are around you. Chris, what, if anything, am I still missing in my current tower moment? I'm sorry to hear you're having a tower moment. You usually come out something good in the end though. But what could you be missing in the current moment you're in? I'm sure if you can see it, it's the idea So you're missing something within this, some sort of spark, some sort of seed has been planted, some sort of new idea, new creativity, a new avenue, freshness, originality, some new approach, something is emerging out of this that you may have missed. Well, given the question and the way it was posed, that you have missed. That you're not seeing kind of embryonic stage of something that is about to emerge. You're not seeing, I suppose, in one sense, what the actual tower moment is about and what it's leading to the freshness, the new bit, the next stage or whatever. So have a look around what's going on and see what is the bit that seems to be emerging out of this that I may not be paying attention to. What is the bit that I need to understand and maybe nourish and cherish? You know, what's the seed I need to water here, rather than just being aware of everything falling apart around me. So good luck with that. Tower moments are hard, but they're part of life, sadly, and usually get us to a better place in the end. Vincent asks, where do I need to focus my efforts? The librarian, you need to focus your efforts in the library. So basically do some book learning, learn some new stuff rather than going out practically learning stuff. So it's not a new skill, or it's not taking all you've learned from books and then going into life. It's about actually getting some knowledge, some book learning, some intellectual stimulation, some theory. It's about the theory and not the practice. So if you can in some way read up on whatever you're doing, get a better understanding of it, study around the area, and pursue it in that way, that there's more information you need rather than something you have to do. Sarah, what am I ignoring in my life this month? The father. So this would be a case you're ignoring the fact that there's some things that have to happen, that they're just part of life, that shouldn't be avoided, that should just be kind of, not in a sense endured, but there's just like a rite of passage that you have to go through because this is life. It's like things like heartbreak, people moving on, friendships ending, jobs ending, just in the natural kind of occurrences of life that, like sickness, death, all of these things, that there'll be periods of unhappiness, not because it's like a punishment or that it's something that can be avoided, but just it's the natural flow of life. So the thing I suppose that you're ignoring this month is something along the lines of, what are you ignoring that is the natural flow of life that you're trying to avoid, that you're not looking up, that you're not facing up to, that you're kind of looking to avoid, some sort of thing that has come to an end, or something you have to go through, some sort of rite of passage, or some sort of, say for want of a better word, some sort of suffering that you're avoiding or trying to ignore, and just to endure it. The Father, of course, will be with you. It's not that you're on your own, but it's just that you have to go through it yourself. And the best way to learn, or the only way to learn these experiences, is by going through it yourself, because someone else doing it for you isn't you having the experience. It's like someone can't take your heartbreak away from you if your boyfriend has dumped you. It's something you just have to go through, but they can be with you, they can listen to you, they can hold your hand, but they can't do it for you. So it's something that you have to do yourself. Well, Bert, what should I do differently to help me achieve my goals for June? Whoa, card jumping out there. It's the mother. Okay, so you have to look after yourself. You have to look after yourself in a kind of very physical, earth-based kind of thing. Your surroundings, your home, your food, your financial situation, your comfort, your surviving, the bits that you need in order to survive, your basic human needs, your basic kind of needs have to be met, and you have to look at that differently. So sometimes when we're trying to achieve goals, we're trying to do things, we can kind of sacrifice areas of our lives, that you'll cut down on eating in order to save money to get whatever it is you need or something, or you'll cut down on exercise, or you'll cut down on some sort of comfort, or when you're trying to do something with work or with a project or something like that, there's a tendency with some people that, to cut down on family time, or even when they are with family, they're distracted, they're thinking about it. So this is a call to go, no, you really have to focus on these kind of basic, fundamental, survival, human needs, like the Maslow's hierarchy or whatever, but it's like, what is it you need? What are you neglecting? What are you not looking at? From, say, your finances, your shelter, you know, your food, your exercise, your nourishment, your self-love, you know, to all, what would a mother want to do to you? What would, if looked at what you're doing in your life, what would the good mother try to fix and try to help? Where would it be? And have a look from there and see if there's anything you can change. Abraxas, what am I moving into? The fixer. So what are you moving into? I suppose it's a period of paying the price for something you want. That in order to get where you want to be, or what you're trying to achieve, or be the person who you truly are, whatever it is that you're working on, that there's a price to be paid. And of course, I'm sure you're aware of this, but for other people, the price isn't always something like massively detrimental or something horrible, or, you know, an actual sacrifice that you have to give up something. Sometimes it's effort. Sometimes it's going to school and learning how to do things. Sometimes it's apologizing. Sometimes it's, you know, sometimes it is like paying a fine or doing something like that, but it's always kind of directly related to what you're trying to do. You know, that's the price that has to be paid. But there is a kind of a wider thing in it as well. It's sometimes, in order for certain parts of your life to work, you have to fix other parts of your life that don't seem connected, but when it happens, there's a kind of a knock-on effect, almost as if you're in some way have turned off the valve to the, you know, the Tao, or to the Chi or whatever, and that things get a bit of a squeeze, and until you kind of release that, all your life kind of becomes a bit dysfunctional. It's a bit, I suppose, like, say you have an issue with a family member, and that has a knock-on effect to the rest of your family, and can sometimes have a knock-on effect to your work, because you're constantly thinking about it. You know, you're treating people who remind you about this person in a different way than you should. But even sometimes I can find that there's things that are completely separate that I need to work on, because it's the thing I need to work on that is putting the squeeze on my whole life. And when that's released, seemingly unrelated things also fix out. But mostly the fixer, you'll be aware of what the price is, you'll know what it is. It's just that we don't usually want to actually pay it. But one of these kind of disciplined type things that we do, you know, this is what we sign up for, this is what we're doing. So this is, I would say, possibly is you're moving into some discipline, into the hard work, into the actually doing the things, rather than reading about the things, thinking about the things, dreaming about the things. It's now you have to do the things. Max asks, what opportunity or pitfall will arise this month for the Adventures in Woo-Woo community? Well, I hope nothing too bad. What about a windfall rather than a pitfall? But let's see. Oh, there we go. Card jumping out again. Depleted. Awesome. Well, I suppose it means that something has come to its natural conclusion, or there's an ending or something. Or it could mean that we all need a bit of a break. You know, that it's like there's been such kind of high energy, or we've all been working towards stuff, that sometimes you just need to consolidate and return just into the quiet and just, you know, get refreshed and recuperate. While both of them may be the case, that it would say that there's probably a natural ebb and flow of things within communities where, you know, there's a kind of new people come in, old people leave, there's a different kind of sense of what the community is, and maybe there's something that we have to leave behind as a community in order to move forward, about who we think we are, what way we approach things, you know, something like that. But just the energy has run out in something and related to the community, and whether it just needs a rest to move back in, or whether we need to do a new approach, or maybe it just means the whole entire community is coming to an end. That would be sad. I wouldn't like that. I don't think it is. But yeah, something along that. It'll be interesting to see now over the course of the month how that plays out. But of course, we have to be aware of not being a self-fulfilling prophecy and start looking for this. And then when we start looking for it, of course, you're going to see it, and you're also going to create it, and you're also going to see that you're putting it on things that aren't necessarily there. And hopefully it's something good, that something emerges, of course, because it is like the depleted is autumn. It's the trees, or the leaves are falling off the trees. It's not that the tree is dead. It's just that the cycle has come to its natural conclusion. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Natasha, where is my joy? That's a sad question. And again, there's lots of cards jumping out today. So this is the card, the mother. Your joy is in your self-love. It's in that sense of feeling nourished and loved and cherished and looked after by a mother figure, but often we have to be our own mother figure. But I think this is more pointing to cherished by life, that there's kind of a sense that you're feeling not cherished by life, that the joy is missing because the joy is missing from life. The life has been hard to you, or that it's, instead of stealing your joy. And it's kind of, this is a call to start, not, because I was going to say to be a bit more grateful, because that can be quite obnoxious when people say that when you're going through a hard time. You just need to be more grateful for what you have. But sadly, sometimes it's true, and I don't mean it in just kind of to not acknowledge the sadness, not to acknowledge the lack of joy, or not to kind of negate that experience at all, but it's also that to kind of orientate yourself in a way that you don't see it as all hopeless, that it's not all joyless, and go. There's a bit in reality transfer from where it's all of these things are badly translated, but it's what's the advantage? What's the advantage in this situation? And while I think that it gives a wrong idea that you're looking for in a hard time, what can I get out of it? It's not what it's pointing to. It's like, where's the light in this situation? What is the bit that's good? Where is the joy in this situation? Where is the still small voice in this situation? And it can be often that it's just, well, it could be a much, much worse. And even if you're starting from that point, then it's somewhere to build on or whatever. But look for the light, even in the darkest situations. By choice, not because, but that you make a deliberate choice to do that it's a conscious decision, that it's a magical act to look for the light in the dark. Because you'll really have to search in some places, and it has to be a deliberate thing. It's not that it's concealed by this and it's some sort of game, possibly is, but this is not in this kind of notion. It's not that that you're not recognizing, you have to look for it, and you're deliberately looking for it, and you're making the choice to change the situation from hopelessly dark, joyless, to having some sort of light, because you're deliberately doing it. That it's an act almost of rebellion or punk rock positivity, that, fuck you, darkness. I'm still going to see the light. And that's got me through sometimes some really, really bad places, and sometimes it's impossible to do. Sometimes you just have to sit and bear the darkness. And that may be where you are, but the mother would suggest that you are loved, and they are cherished, and you are being looked after, and that there's a lot of love. It's like a big hug. And rather than saying like the gratitude thing, it's more remember that you're loved, and that there's people around you who love you. And the world itself, there's a sense of, or the earth itself, Gaia, or the mother goddess, loves you, cherishes you, and is glad you're about. So, Natasha, my heart aches for your joyless experience, and I hope your best days are ahead. And I feel there will be. And it's my blessing and my wish and my prayer to you. Christoph, I've been diagnosed with adult ADHD. In this month, I have a milestone birthday. However, I'm not feeling very celebratory. What's next? Well, happy birthday. In one sense, I suppose, it's good about the diagnosis. At least you know what it is. But that can be tough too. What's next? Or what do you need to know? The eye, okay? So the eye of God, the eye of providence, everything is as it should be. This is exactly where you need to be. This is exactly, everything is going to plan. You are in the right place at the right time, and all that is unfolding before this and after this and currently is complete, correct, in the right proportion and appropriate. So what's next is the next step of appropriateness, and just to have trust and faith that everything is as it should be. It's not to say that you don't get up in the morning and fight the good fight, or you don't get up in the morning and, try to better yourself, or try to learn from the past, or, whatever. But it's just to know that within all of that, this is exactly what's meant to be happening. This is it. And it's a good thing. It's all according to plan. Might not be your plan, depending on what way you think about these things. Could be a higher self, your angel's plan, God's plan, Spirit's plan, or just a general sense of this is where it's at, this is where we are, and an acceptance of this is what it is. The way things are the way things are, and no amount of being annoyed, no amount of being unhappy, no amount of resistance will ever change the fact that the way things are the way things are, and that's the way they are, and they can't be any other way, and it's exactly perfect for what they are. So I hope that helps in some way. It can often not, but just to know that nothing bad has happened wrong on a kind of a spiritual level or divine. You haven't messed up, you haven't done anything. This is exactly what you need, where to be. And good luck with all of that. That can be tough. Milestone birthdays, sometimes I like them, sometimes I don't. They kind of get less fun the more milestone birthdays you have, though, in fairness. But, you know, let's all be old together and enjoy it. And that's it for another month. Hope you enjoyed it. I hope that people who are watching this, who haven't got questions to be answered, who aren't part of it, also find some sort of value in it, in that at least they can see how I approach divination, or how I approach, you know, interpreting the different cards, or, you know, using the kind of perspective of the different servants in order to kind of, in some way, try to have a view or an answer or some sort of insight to the quandary or to the question or to what the person is asking. So I do think it could be helpful if you're into the 47s, of course. If you're not, then I'm sure this video is exceedingly boring and not your thing at all. But again, if you want in on this every month, or you just want to generally support what I do, the videos, the podcasts, the comics, the books, the music, all of these things that I do, then you can join the Patreon below. We do a number of things over on Patreon, but again, it's not like a premium service, or it's not something like that. It's just generally, if you want to help me out and continue to do the things that I do, then join up to Patreon rather than with some sort of expectation of reward, because it's not, it's not a premium membership, or it's not, it's not a premium membership. It's just something in order to help me. If that's something you don't want to do, but you'd still like to help out, there's a number of ways. There is, like, you can buy me a book off my Amazon wish list. I now have this thing on YouTube where it's like super chat, where under every video you can just click on it and send me money. Sounds wonderful. Why wouldn't you want to do that? You can send me to PayPal, or send money to PayPal. You can share, like videos, annoy people about them. If you think they're interested, don't annoy people about things, my videos or my podcasts or whatever, who wouldn't be interested. But annoy the people who you think might be interested. And buy the books, buy the comics, buy a 47s deck. All of these things help out. Or just watch the videos, like, share, comment, all of those things. I'm useless at this, I should get better, but I'm trying my best. So, good people of the internet, until next time, may your life be as wonderful as this gentle, serene moment that I find myself in, with the birds singing, the trees swaying, the gentle hum of the traffic as it passes, and with the wonderful architecture of the church. May you be well, and may your best days be ahead.